I never expected a summer job to change my life. I took it because I needed money, not meaning. But looking back, I can see how that one choice led to a secret I carried far too long, one that followed me home, into my relationships, and into the quiet corners of who I became. I was 22, fresh out of college with a liberal arts degree and no solid plan. Most of my friends were either starting grad school or interning in big cities, but I just needed a break. So I moved back to my small hometown and picked up a job at the local assisted living center as a part-time activities coordinator. It sounded easy enough, helping seniors with puzzles, leading bingo games, maybe planning a holiday party or two. And the pay, while not amazing, was decent. The place was called a Pine Hollow. It smelled like lavender and hand sanitizer, and the lobby always played soft instrumental music that made every visit feel like a memory. The residents were mostly friendly, though some were quiet, lost in their own histories. I liked the rhythm of it, showing up, setting out coloring books, chatting with Miss Carter about her cats, walking Mr. Jameson to the garden so he could sit under his favorite tree. Then there was her, Eleanor. She was 91, sharp as a tack, always wore a string of fake pearls and bright red lipstick, even in pajamas. From the first day I met her, she took a liking to me, said I reminded her of her granddaughter who lived far away. She called me Sunshine, and at first I thought it was just a sweet nickname, but I'd later learned that Eleanor used charm like armor, and that underneath it was a vault of stories nobody else seemed to know. We got close fast. She told me about her youth, how she once sang jazz in New York lounges before marrying a military man and moving around the country. She had a way of telling stories that made me forget where I was, like each tale was a door to a different time. I'd stay after hours sometimes, just to listen. One evening, after helping her organize her jewelry box, she asked if I could keep a secret. I hesitated, not because I was worried, but because of the seriousness in her tone. I never told anyone this, she said. Not my children, not my late husband, but I want someone to know before I go. She handed me an old, creased letter. The paper was delicate, nearly translucent, with cursive writing that looked like it belonged in a movie. It was a love letter, but not from her husband. It was from a woman named Margaret. I read it twice before I looked up. I loved her, Eleanor said softly. We met in 1952. I was 20. We were inseparable. But you know the world back then. I nodded, unsure of what to say. She asked me to leave with her, run away to California, start over, but I was too scared. I married Henry a month later, never saw her again. I sat there, stunned, not by the fact that she had loved a woman, but by the way she carried that love, quietly, for over 70 years. A whole life lived with that secret tucked away. She made me promise not to tell anyone. Just hold it for me, she said, so someone knows I was brave once, even if just in my heart. I kept that promise. For the rest of the summer, we talked often. About Margaret, about regrets, about how some truths don't die, even when we bury them. And when Eleanor passed away in her sleep that September, the staff said she went peacefully. But I didn't feel peaceful. Her story haunted me. Not in a frightening way, but in the way it made me question everything I thought I knew about love, about choices, about how many people go to their graves holding back the truest parts of themselves. I didn't tell anyone about Eleanor's letter. Not her family, not my friends. It felt sacred. And it felt like my burden now, even though I wasn't sure what to do with it. The next year, I moved to a new city for a job in publishing. I started dating someone new, a guy named Trevor. He was kind and easygoing, the sort of person who made grocery shopping feel like a date. But something in me had changed. I found myself craving deeper conversations. I wanted to ask people what they were afraid to say out loud. I wanted to hear their unsent letters. I wanted to make space for the truths they didn't know how to carry. Trevor didn't understand that part of me. He called it too heavy, said I was always looking for sadness in beautiful things. But it wasn't sadness I was chasing. It was meaning, connection, honesty. We lasted a year before I broke it off. I still had Eleanor's letter, tucked inside a journal I barely opened. Every now and then I'd take it out and read it. I'd picture her, that stubborn, elegant woman in pearls, and I'd wonder what would have happened if she had gone with Margaret, if she had chosen her heart over fear. And then one day, I did something I never expected. I wrote Margaret a letter. I had found her full name in the letter and did some searching. There was an obituary. She had passed 10 years prior, but she had a niece listed in the family notes. I tracked down an address and sent a letter, not knowing if it would ever be read. A month later, I got a response. A typed note on plain paper. Dear Miss, I knew about Eleanor. My aunt spoke of her until the end. She always said Eleanor was the love of her life. Thank you for confirming it wasn't just a dream. Yours, Claire, I cried. For Eleanor, for Margaret. For the decades they spent apart, yet still thinking of each other. That letter made me realize something. Some stories aren't meant to stay secrets. They're meant to be remembered. Not for drama, but for dignity. For truth. For the record. Now, at 26, I'm a writer. I tell real stories, anonymous, protected, but honest. Stories about people like Eleanor, about heartbreak, bravery, and the moments in life that define us quietly. People submit anonymously. I share their words, their truths, and every time I hit publish, I feel like I'm honoring her. That part of her lives on. I still don't think of myself as a liar, but I do think I learned that the worst lies are the ones we force ourselves to live with, and the most sacred promises are the ones that help someone carry their truth, even if it's too late to change the ending. So if you're holding something in your heart, a story, a feeling, a secret that shaped you, I hope one day you share it, even if just with one person. Because every story deserves to be remembered. Every truth deserves to breathe.